It's March the 12th. Most extraordinary, unbelievable show for everybody tonight. All 21 of you. It's called censorship, and this is the most sought after topic on the planet for many weeks. And my show starts off with 20 people. And you're the most informed population on the planet on top of that if you catch this show. So hate it. They hate me. They hate you, but they hate me. They hate the fact that somebody is honest. It's unbelievable contempt for all 8 million species. Contempt doesn't really do that justice. It's hatred for themselves and their friends and their families and their loved ones. This is an extraordinary day. It's extraordinary. This whole story is extraordinary. Every facet of this should terrify you. Italian doctors on coronavirus front line face tough calls. This story actually tells it all about this virus. With demand outpacing supplies of beds, forget about the word beds, I think with the word respirators, because that's what this is all about. Medical workers are told to prioritize younger patients, because there's only so many respirators to go around. A healthy person is sick for about 2 weeks and it's a bad sickness. But somebody that's not healthy is at least 6 weeks if they're going to survive. And if you don't got that's if you got a respirator. That's how bad this actually is. How come you didn't see that media talking about this? I wonder. Just a single story that disappeared immediately. As the numbers of the infected keep rising, the number of reported cases in Italy topped 7,900. That was... So we're going back 3 days with these headlines, and we're going to move forward to today. But I got these put all the ducks in order, so you're going to get a mix of 3 days this particular show. The number... Hospitals are scrambling to increase the number of beds available in intensive care units. It's where they get you on life support. Some have closed entire wards to dedicate them to severe coronavirus cases. Severe being you're on life support. Others have transformed operating rooms into intensive care units. Doctors are working grueling shifts to cover for colleagues who have fallen ill. They actually brought in another 20,000 doctors and nurses. And Google and the industry has me censored because they're up to no good. And we got a handle on it, and we do the work. I'm used to this being censored. It's nothing new to me. But on a story like this, at a point in history like today, at this pivoting moment in humanity, they would censor me after all I've done, all the work I have done to make the planet better. There's nothing drives the feeling of being hated more than what they're doing to me. Every day I know I'm hated. It's a terrible way to live your life. It's not imaginary, it's not fictional, it's not paranoia. Because I'm going to do the work anyway. They make me suffer because they hate the fact that there's someone out there who cares. That should terrify you more than all this put together. People actually censor me. That's their job. It's horrifying that we live in a world like that. So in Italy, in this one place, they got 900 beds for intensive care. Well, that's what they put together. They never needed 900 intensive care beds at this place before. And in other provinces, hospitals are near saturation. We are aware that the body of the extremely fragile patient is unable to tolerate certain treatments compared to that of a healthy person. And for now, the marching orders are save scarce resources for those patients who have the greatest chance of survival. This is the norm right around the planet today. That means prioritizing younger, otherwise healthy patients over older patients or those with pre-existing conditions. The older patients are the ones who built the country. And they have a right to be old and retired. They don't have a right to be considered disposable. The young are foolish playing video games and being ignorant and rude, the majority of them. The older people deserve to survive instead of the younger people. The younger people will come along and replace them. The stupid and the brainwashed and the dumbed down. There's an endless amount of them. But the older people have worked their entire lives and deserves to have a life. They don't deserve to be thrown away like paper towels. Shame on you, you disgusting parasites. I'd personally kick your teeth down your throat if I ever caught any of you. Many colleagues are afraid of the dizzying increase of the epidemic, are afraid of the dizzying increase. This is Italy, which now 60 million people are locked down. The principle of the first come, first serve has been abandoned. You have no idea unless you've been following these programs that I put out. Unbelievable amount of labor to collect it all and get it together and be able to do these shows. It's absurd how much work I've done over the years to tell the truth. What a crime. What a criminal I am. What a horrible person I must be to tell the truth, to be censored the way they're sentenced. It's outrageous. It's just outrageous. It's cowardly. Coronavirus could be spread by air conditioning. You get it? It's actually airborne and they knew it. They hid it away from you. And I'll show you the evidence coming up. Traces of the coronavirus found in a hospital air duct led scientists to believe the disease could be spread through air conditioning units, making it more contagious than initially thought. There's so much hate for you. It's unbelievable. Swabs analyzed of rooms used by 3 coronavirus patients by experts suggest that the respiratory illness spreads easier than previously thought. It is standard practices for buildings and cruise ships to use recycled air through air conditioning systems. Problem is, these systems can't filter out particles smaller than 5,000 nanometers. And the size of the coronavirus is not yet known. Think about that statement. And a similar respiratory illness, SARS, was 120 nanometers. So there's no problem going through the filters. And saying it can live in the air for 3 hours. This is a study. It just come out, this information. But it can actually live on the surfaces, we know, for 9 days. And National Geographic's had claimed up to 2 months. In the right conditions, these viruses just keep replicating. And the right conditions in everybody's home. This is why they're fogging down entire cities. The news we got tonight is utterly shocking. According to the new research, the novel coronavirus can remain in the air for 3 hours. And the researchers, though, that's the study, the links are below to the study and the story. Some of the money was funded by DARPA. So they're not telling you the truth. That's the military. Their job is to kill everything. Everything is a nail, and the only weapon they have is the world's biggest hammers. And they're savages. They're completely savages. It's absurd. Coronavirus x-rays show terrifying damage in the lungs of the coronavirus victims. Incredible, unbelievable, unimaginable damage. Every facet of this story is terrifying. American Healthcare Association president says coronavirus is a perfect killing machine for the elderly. Perfect killing machine. Gee, I wonder what, you really think this is by bats? Is anybody out there really that stupid? They think this is not modified? If you're out there and you believe this is just a normal virus, there's actually something wrong with you. You're so well indoctrinated, there's nothing out there can fix you. You were screwed up the minute you were born. Fears stalk the empty streets in France. COVID-19 hotspots. That's a word you only hear, really, when it comes to stuff like this for radiation. As you approach the middle of the town, what you don't see are many people. And why? Simply fear. This is worldwide today. And it's going to be worse tomorrow when you wake up. Only about 15,000 people live here, but so far at least 5 deaths from coronavirus has been linked to this little town. Scandinavia in lockdown after what they call a spike, and a spike could be just a couple of cases. They locked down the country. And they're telling you it's like the flu. Denmark's government has taken a drastic step of closing down all schools and telling workers to stay home. Norway is shutting its borders to places worst hit by the coronavirus. We're in uncharted territory. The Prime Minister said at an emergency press briefing convened late on Wednesday. We never tried anything like this before. The Danish government is telling all citizens to do what they can to isolate themselves to prevent the virus from bringing down the country's healthcare system. Because they got millions of people and only got a couple of hundred respirators. State, and they want them from themselves. State schools will remain shut for 2 weeks. Anybody really think this is going to change in 2 weeks? This is not even going to peak until next year. This is officially now out of control. Wednesday, this is Twilight Zone times infinity. Wednesday, with Norway, Sweden, Denmark together, now having registered 1,500 people with the virus. And so the 6th of March, the 7th of March, the 8th of March, the 10th of March are starting to rise, 11th and 12th, and it's never going to slow down. So Sweden, Norway banned public gatherings of 500 people. Denmark has banned gatherings of 100. So Sweden and Norway and Denmark have banned gatherings of people with just less than half of them. A little over 600 cases. They pulled the plug on the whole country. Philippines' capital now is on lockdown. It's like 11 million people, but some estimates could be double the population. Everybody's packed together too. This is going to go supernovas on us in about a week's time. The Philippines president on Thursday announced strict immigration curbs and a halt on domestic land, sea and air travel to and from Manila in what he called a lockdown of the capital to arrest the spread of coronavirus. 112 people. Do anybody really think I'm out there on the internet? You gotta come look for me. It's horrifying. Nobody's allowed to have a conversation and talk about the truth. They're willing to kill everybody rather than somebody actually have a conversation and bring some common sense to this conversation. Google is so hateful, it's beyond any kind of concept whatsoever. The President of the Philippines approved a resolution allowing a raft of measures, including bans on mass gatherings, a month of school closures, community quarantine, and threatens to jail local officials who defy the government's order. We do not want to use that term, but this is a lockdown. It's 13 million people. The numbers be far greater, considered to be far greater due to unchecked migration and millions of informal settlers. New York has ordered a quarantine in a suburb. Now they declared an emergency today for the whole state. Of the 173 confirmed cases in all of New York, 108 of them is New Rochelle. This now is expanded dramatically in less than a day and a half. The containment area will have a 1-mile radius centered around a Jewish center that state officials says could be the center of the outbreak. And you're not containing people, he said, you're containing the facilities. Now you got National Guards on the street to contain facilities. Oh yeah, sure. Coronavirus. The Viking Cruise Line just parked 79 ships. Soldiers on the streets of Albania to enforce coronavirus lockdown. The people are confirmed to have visited Italy and Greece in the past week and did not voluntarily quarantine themselves. They will be fined €5,000 and be banned from traveling abroad if they did not pay the fine. Bizarre land. They also announced that cafes and restaurants, as well as crowded sports and cultural centers, are closing down, and the public transport will be suspended in 2 major cities, and he announces it on Facebook of all places. Scum Facebook. Coronavirus lockdown turns Rome into a ghost town. The city's famous streets are devoid of traffic and ancient tourist sites are deserted. Anyone walking through the city are told to go home unless they can prove to the police that they have business there. Everything is closing down. Everybody's being locked down. Kerala, this is India, under lockdown after India registers 18 new coronavirus cases. And anybody that was traveling and don't report that they traveled to any of these countries they list is considered a crime. Be considered as a crime. Yet they got cases, and they arrested a doctor from the same place because they accused her of spreading rumors because the doctor said that she had alerted the police, the health authorities, and informed the public about him through social media was a person at her hospital claimed to have coronavirus symptoms. Hospital authorities allegedly terminated her after the incident as they feared the news of the visit of a coronavirus suspect patients would affect the inflow of patients to cause the panic. So they arrested her. So do you really think we can control this virus when we have buffoons like this out there doing stuff, arresting doctors for sounding the alarms in impoverished countries? You think for a second they have the ability to control anything? They arrested 11 people for talking about it rather than trying to do something. Their solution is to silence anybody having a conversation and then pretend it didn't happen. Do you really think this is not going to go supernova on us in the next week with absolute morons like this in charge, with useless idiots like this in charge? Do you really think that they're capable of doing anything? At least 11 people, including a few women, have been arrested for allegedly spreading fake news in social media. We've been covering this over and over and over. Because they thought there might be an infected person in the state, and they're afraid of panic. This is what the whole planet is doing, is panicking. Because whatever you call it, you can call it media, but that's not a real name for whatever the frig it is. It's evil. I can prove that, and I will at the end of the show. North Carolina governor calls for cancellation of postponing all gatherings of over 100 people. North Carolina. New York calls for cancellations. New York bans gatherings of 500, but also 250 people. Or was that Illinois, is it? France closes schools to curb the coronavirus spread. France. That's just a few hours ago. And this is Illinois, I think, is it? Yeah, Illinois has banned gatherings. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. And look at the panic. This is nothing. Wait till you see what I got for you. Until May the 1st. March the 12th. April 12th. May the 1st. My goodness. You think it's going to be over by then? NHL today just gave up hockey. There's people out there right now without a fingernail left. They're so dependent on hockey. Year after year after year of being brainwashed, dumbed down, and now their hockey is gone. There's more murders in the next week than we've seen in history. Following last night's news that an NBA player had tested positive, and given that the league shares so many facilities and locker rooms, it now seems likely that some members of the NHL community would test positive at some point. So it's no longer appropriate to try to continue. In other words, all the athletes that are going to these places, as I'm going to show you coming up, Major League Baseball just shut down today, and basketball, and I'll show you a whole list of them coming up. It's all the major ones. I pulled the plug on it. NBA suspends season till further notice. Major League Soccer. You see these big petri dishes. Major League Soccer, baseball, soccer, hockey, all the major ones. Boxing, New York in a few days going to fight with no audience. A boxing match with no audience. This is only a fraction what was out there today. I couldn't possibly cover it all. So top-ranked boxing now going to have boxing behind closed doors. The NCAA Wrestling Championship for now in the spring is all cancelled. The figure skating is all cancelled. The list is unbelievable. NASCAR is now cancelled. All the events. Like just that little string of sports, all these events cancelling, that defies gravity. That defies any kind of rationale whatsoever. And Google is banning anybody that says the word biological weapon. And the rest of the creeps, the disgusting creeps that are out there doing it to people, and particularly to me. It's outrageous. I already paid my fucking dues. How dare you ban me, you scum, you cowards. A statement from Miami-Dade County Mayor, therefore I've decided to suspend operations at the youth fair, at the tennis tournaments, at the 5K run, All major events at American Airlines Arena. NASCAR races. Homestead Miami Speedway's postponed. The list is so long you can barely wrap your mind around it. Coronavirus flares lit outside of an arena as football match was played behind closed doors. They actually rioted. Thousands of football fans actually rioted because you couldn't get in and watch the game. India's the hero of all names to call a sports. Somebody's a hero. It's the company that's sponsoring, by the way, which is even more insidious. So the golf tournaments are closed. Incredible. The biggest events on the planet all shutting their doors. It gets worse. And then you got stuff like this. Warriors ignore city officials' plea to cancel the games. They can override them at some point. OSDH says there's no risk for fans at a game. Oh, when you got all these people, thousands of people coughing, there is something to be worried about. Despite the definitive statement that the health department, Thunder officials told staff to stay home and self-quarantine themselves. But they're going to go ahead and have the game, but told the staff to go quarantine themselves. Real life idiots. Actual real life idiots. This guy says leave it up to the fans to spread it to 1 billion people. Because he can't live without people calling his name. Like, these are the worst fucking people I've ever seen on the planet. Over and over we're seeing these athletes will sacrifice every human on the planet so they can have an audience. Leonard thinks the decision to attend the game or stay home should be left in the hands of fans. Nobody gives a fuck what Leonard thinks. Pinhead, you're a journalist. Do some fucking research for a change, you piece of shit, coward scum. My apologies. You're kind of losing it there. Juno Awards cancelled due to the coronavirus concerns. Juno Awards. They're in Saskatchewan, Canada. The 19th Juno, or the 2020 Juno Awards, scheduled for March the 15th, are cancelled because of Universal Studios Hollywood closes over coronavirus. This is unprecedented. Disneyland closing on Saturday over the virus. The Tribeca Film Festival is closing. It stopped. This is unbelievable. The 19th Tribeca Film Festival in April the 15th is already being cancelled. So they know it's not going away. They know it's going to get worse. Not only that, South by Southwest Full Frame Documentary Film Festival and the Sun Valley Film Festivals are closed. WWE is now going behind doors. They usually got audiences of 80 or 90,000 people that are paying an absurd amount of money. So they're just going behind. This is unbelievable. Every facet of today is unbelievable. TV shows are starting to feel the impact. Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortunes are going to be without audiences. Unbelievable. World Health Organization, people with mild illness recovers in about 2 weeks with mild. While those with severe illnesses may take 6 weeks to recover. Pearl Jam is cancelling all of their stops. All of them. Miley Cyrus is pulled out of Australia's. Russell Brand is cancelling his shows. Carlos Santana is cancelling his shows. Howie Mandel showed up to work in a hazmat suit. New York City talk shows to tape without studio audiences due to the coronavirus. Tom Hanks and his wife just tested positive in Australia. They'll be on their respirators in a few days. ABC, NBC bans live audiences at morning shows. Of course, you're not just going to do it with the morning shows. It's going to be all the other ones, right? NAB cancels April's Las Vegas show because of coronavirus. This is unbelievable. This is actually unbelievable what we got today. Every facet of the story is unbelievable. Forget the Dow. Coronavirus could send Ford stocks to zero. Wow. Some restaurants are taking patrons' temperatures to help avoid the spread of coronavirus. Yeah, you get 2% of the sick. That's what that is. Temperature only gets 2% of the sick in late stages. It's unbelievable. If the thermometer reads 100 degrees, they are politely asked to leave. It's a little bit late at that stage. And then the person taking the temperatures, breathing in everybody's face, can be infected for 24 days before they know it, and they can infect everybody who walks through the door. It's absurd. Who mocked coronavirus by wearing gas masks on the house floor is now in quarantine. I'm such a bad person that Google won't let me on the internet. Unless you find me, I don't exist. The biggest story in human history, and I'm lucky to get 160 people halfway through my show. That's terrifying. That's pure hate. They hate us. They just hate us with so much passion. It's so scum. You people are such scum. Google scrubs coronavirus. They call it misinformation. They're the arbiter of facts all of a sudden. Recent YouTube searches for I can't even say it, I'm too dry. I can't even say it. Coronavirus conspiracies that it was developed as a bioweapon. Well, why wouldn't you think about that? Why would you exclude that? It's not like it's not possible. It's not like every country with a bioweapons lab didn't take the virus and weaponize it. It's not like it can't happen. It's not like it's not supposed to be in the equation. Why do we see endless big media freaking out whenever somebody mentions the word, it could be a bioweapon? You never know. This is why they got me censored tonight, because we're trying to talk about that. Google then turns around and tells it's actually 100,000 of their employees who work at home. That was one of the biggest such moves yet. Google asked all of its employees in US and Canada to work home for at least a month. Of course, that's going to go on for a year or two. It's one of the biggest such moves yet. Google asked all employees, 100,000 of its workers are here in North America. A man jokes about being exposed to coronavirus in Dallas, Texas, and could be charged for it. Joked about coronavirus. See, unless it's a biological weapon, there's no reason for this kind of response, right? And to ban anybody that's saying, hey, we can't exclude it, is somehow a bad person. Somehow has to be scrubbed from the internet. I'll scrub Google's people from the internet if I ever get my hands on any of them. I'll give them my 2-watt Ford the minute I lay his eyes on them. They'll know they're scum. You won't need someone to tell them ever again. The man's claims created a situation that started with an ambulance and 2 fire stations being forced to go on lockdown. Why? Because somebody's sick? What are you hiding from the planet? What is it you're not telling people? Why are you so fucking dark? The police are too stupid to ask this question. San Antonio idiot department is looking into the incident to determine if the man will face criminal charges. Instead of finding out why they're silencing everybody, instead of speaking out to themselves and saying, hey, you're not being told everything. Coronavirus outbreak, if the COVID-19 was a standard flu, the World Health Organization would have declared a pandemic ages ago if it was a standard flu. What are you fucking talking about? You should be arrested for that double talk. Ryan? Barclay reports coronavirus case on a New York trading floor. That's the best news I heard all day. I swore there was nothing on the planet today could make me fucking smile. But I was wrong. I was actually wrong. That made me smile today. Harvard wants students to move out in 5 days, and they show a picture of the Canadian Prime Minister. There's a meeting on the planet, I have yet to find it after all these years. Coronavirus grips Italy at 600. The numbers tonight are over 1,000. Italy sees highest one-day death toll, 168 in one day. Goes to 631. Today's headline, March the 12th, tops 1,000 and rising steadily. Italy suspends mortgages and household bills. You're going to see every country do this. Every country's going to have to do this. 70 to 80%, they say, of every country is going to be sick with this, which means 100% is going to get sick of it. And they ain't got enough respirators to do jack shit. The respirators are for them. That's why I'm censored, because they don't want anybody to hear my narrative, because you might hate them, which is what they deserve for what they're doing to us. For not even, they're not qualified to do the job they got in the first place. Coronavirus, worldwide people come next winter, scientific models predict. Yay. Dangerous key factors that could make the virus more fatal is if you got high blood pressure. Every facet of this story is a living nightmare. Get rid of the salt out of your diet. 6 million Australians, adults, have high blood pressure. China's new coronavirus cases. China! Piece of shit China that lied to everybody, hid it, jailed and arrested, and freaked up all the doctors who tried to have a conversation. Who let 5 million get out of Wuhan before they put up the piece of shit China! Fuck China! Coward! Look at this idiot up on a big screen. You're an idiot, buddy. The world will hate you in a week's time like you never even dreamt. 2/3 of Germans may get coronavirus, Merkel says. 70%, 75%. You can't get 75% without getting 100%. Nobody has an autoimmune trigger for this stuff. Nobody has a defense for this. Germany will spend whatever it takes to tackle the coronavirus. Is likely to infect 70% of the population. They have enough respirators for 0.0000001% of the population. That's a fact. A healthy person takes 2 weeks to recover. The virus is out there and the population has no immunity, no vaccinations, no therapy exists. Then a high percentage, experts say 60 to 70% of the population will be infected. UK got over 100 portable morgues on order. World Health Organization declares the coronavirus outbreak a pandemic long after everybody else did. See, the word pandemic was supposed to be everybody got their ass in gear, right? But no. the World Health Organization version of a panic is everybody gives up. I don't know if a single person on the planet that's going to give up when they hear the word pandemic. Everybody's going to go to war, go to bat to protect themselves and their loved ones and do the moral and ethical things that they can. They're going to understand the gravity of it. Institutions worldwide now will go to bat trying to come up with solutions, yeah? No, we're going to wait till it's too fucking late and call it a pandemic and then shove the blame somewhere else, because that's what a coward society does. More than 450 people in Ontario, 50 million people in the Canadian province, going to wreck Canada now. Unbelievable. Oh, telling the truth could cause panic. YouTube will allow some creators to monitorize corona videos on a limited number of channels that discuss the outbreak, which is just mainstream media. Because that, you've got to be extremely evil to do something like this. Google's motto, don't be evil, is actually be as evil as you can. They've surpassed everybody's expectations of being evil. China criticized U.S. officials for immoral and irresponsible comments that blamed Beijing's response, to the coronavirus for worsening the global impact of the pandemic. Well, that's what friggin' happened. You know it, you disgusting communist pigs. It's true. You piece of shit. I hope someone puts... Never mind. I think it's immoral and irresponsible is communist China that hid this for almost 2 months. China's efforts to slow the spread have brought the world time. Your effort didn't buy anybody any time. You let 5 million people get out of Wuhan before you threw up the barrier. You piece of shit, lying scum. You scum. You're just scum. You're nothing but scum. Generations of scum, and you're the pinnacle of it. Your whole legacy, your whole pedigree is nothing but being scumbags. So shut the fuck up. We wish that a few officials in the U.S. at this time concentrate their energy on responding to the virus and promoting cooperation and not on shifting the blame to China, whose fucking fault it is. The outbreak in Wuhan was covered up, dummy. Dipstick. The way that this started out in China and the way it was handled from the onset was not right. France going to close airports because there's no flights. This shit is airborne. That's why China is spraying the whole country over and over. Ghana recorded 57, one of the most impoverished countries on the planet. Not fucking censored beyond concept. Disgusting. You disgusting parasites. I'll fucking fight any one of you anytime. Give me a fucking call. You know my number. Call it. I'll meet you any fucking where you want, you pieces of shit. Fuck you, cowards. Censor me, you fucking cowards. Norway to take strongest ever peacetime measures as coronavirus spreads. Strongest ever means they're going to lock down the country. Close schools, restaurants, all sporting events. We're seeing that in every country worldwide. Soldiers on the street of Albania to enforce it. Twitter is actually providing tools so governments can censor everybody, which is their legacy, by the way. Not just Nigeria, they help China constantly pinpoint the exact fucking house where there's dissenting opinions coming from. Your worst enemies is Google, is Facebook, is Twitter, is these disgusting parasites that are weaponized against the entire population of the planet. The Dow plummets again. A sell-off over the coronavirus deepens. Actually, stock exchanges might have to close because he lost so much in such a short time. Not last week, the week before, it was $6 billion in 1 week. This is how the Planet of the Apes starts. As coronavirus slams Thailand's tourism, there's nobody on the streets except for the locals. The monkeys are starving to death because they're used to the tourists stealing all their food and tourists feeding them, right? So somebody threw a banana, and I'll show you on the big screen what happened. The local shopkeeper was captured the footage, claiming this is the first time she's ever seen a clash between temple monkeys and city monkeys, two different groups separated by a train track. Imagine that the monkeys won't cross the train track all these years. I think the monkeys were very, very hungry. There's normally a lot of tourists here to feed the monkeys, but now there's not so many because of the coronavirus. They went crazy for a single piece of food. I've never seen them this aggressive, she said. And so what you had was hundreds and hundreds of monkeys were fighting over a banana. All of a sudden, someone throws a banana coming up here, and they go crazy. See that pile? That was over a single banana. Watch this. They're actually fighting over a banana, all those monkeys. And then they're all chasing the one with the banana. It's really something. They're starving to death. Astonishing moment, hundreds of hungry wild monkeys scramble for a piece of food. The primates are normally well fed by tourists. The visitors have plummeted because of the coronavirus. So when one of the primates had a juicy banana, the entire pack that roams around the streets surrounded the creature this morning and tried to snatch it. Footage showed hundreds of monkeys tussling for the snack, and when one of the animals fled, the creatures chased it up a grass bank. Even locals who are used to seeing the creatures are shocked by their ferocity. They look more like wild dogs than monkeys, one said. They went crazy for a single piece of food. I've never seen them that aggressive. I think the monkeys are very, very hungry. There's normally a lot of tourists here to feed the monkeys. That's amazing. Trump should do this to cut the coronavirus panic. The coronavirus crisis will be over instantly if Donald Trump would simply change his name to Obama to escape the constant criticism. Yeah, the media's out there constantly keeping everybody in a frenzy, attacking Trump rather than looking for solutions. We do know that the main culprit is the uncalled for panic in the Communist Chinese Party, which initially kept knowledge of the virus hidden and allowed travel into and out of China for heavens knows how long before the rest of the world found out about the fucking disease. Is a fact, yeah? China says it's immoral and irresponsible that U.S. officials shift the coronavirus. Why they shift it? Media calls coronavirus Wuhan and Chinese coronavirus dozens of times. And they got a video montage showing it. Lansing police won't be responsible in person for property crimes. They're not going to, if you have property crimes, they're not going to show up. Do you think it's just going to be then? Because in a week's time, this is going to look, there's going to be just hundreds and hundreds of headlines like this from different police departments. Like, no, we're not going there. We might have coronavirus. So the media that you turn to, the media that you're dependent upon, have a legacy of incredible deception and lies. I'm going to show you some of those lies from 7 different medias. You got BBC, CBC, which is Canada. BBC's United Kingdom government. You got RT, which is Russia's government. Physics.org is supposed to be a go-to media, right? Motherboard is a major international media, and the World Nuclear Associations. And so you see this building here, it's called Reactor 4, currently in Japan. What he done was, that looks supposed to be 190 feet high like that building. What he done was they lied to everybody. You can see these little green pictures on each of these. These are from those medias. And this is some of them, for instance, where they're pretending they're 190 feet in the air. That's the media you're returning to, you're relied upon, that is being fed to everybody, whether you like it or not, is the same people, the same media, the same editors and producers, the same companies that have lied to you non-stop for 9 years about a nuclear meltdown, that even had the arrogance, the hubris, to go up on top of it, claim they're on top of a building that no longer exists.
We are here inside Reactor 4 at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant that was severely crippled during the earthquake and tsunami in 2008.
She is still in business. That's CNN claiming they're on top of a building, and they're still on TV. They're still perpetrating that lie. That doesn't bother you? That doesn't worry you? That doesn't concern you? That they're claiming to be above, these are the pools they're talking about, they're showing, they're claiming they're actually above the pools, but the building actually looks like that over there. It doesn't exist anymore. It's completely destroyed all the way to the ground. Informatables, nuclear news, major media, showing you a fake picture claiming that it's way above that building that doesn't even exist. Is that acceptable to anybody? Because that's the media is going to lie to you for the next 7 years if you're lucky enough to live that long. These are the official pictures the media, all universities have come out and showed you that picture, because I covered them at my humble, shitty, garbage little site for many years now. But this is what the building actually looks like, and that doesn't piss you off. That doesn't worry you. That doesn't frighten you. That doesn't concern you. This is CBC, the government of Canada, showing us a fake picture of a building that's claiming they're in that building, which is ludicrous. It's a lethal dose just to walk close to the building. That doesn't concern you. That there's nobody on the planet showing you that, only Dana, right here. There's nobody out there fighting for you, only right fucking here, which is why I'm censored. It's just outrageous. At a moment in history like this, they're going to censor someone like me who's trying to have a conversation. I know the night is not one of my better nights, but come on. Can you blame me for being upset? Can you really seriously blame me for being upset? That you're faking being on a building way above it? That doesn't worry somebody? RT, fake picture of a building that's completely destroyed to deceive and manipulate everybody. See, the pools that they show you, those green pictures, are these things up here. They're going to be above it to shoot down into it. This is TEPCO showing you that they allegedly built a new pool and it's magically got all the old fuel into it when actually it detonated. That doesn't worry you? That they're faking that? A nuclear meltdown doesn't worry you? Motherboard showing you this fake picture. I put these other pictures alongside of it to show you the difference each time. And I get arrested and vilified and demonized and smeared. Look at them. Physics.org faking being in a building that no longer existed when he took these pictures at that moment. It actually looked like that. And they were showing you that picture. Do you get it? The nuclear engineering, one of the biggest websites for nuclear out there, is showing you a fake picture of a building that no longer exists, claiming it exists, and it looks perfect like that. That's the same medias that everybody's turning to right now looking for information about coronavirus. And all they're going to do is regurgitate what this freak of nature known as World Health Organization is going to say. So I'm going to play you 7 clips of 7 different medias and journalists claiming that they're up there above the fuel pool looking down on it in that building over there. Yeah? Bear with me, because this is important. Hate me, neutral, or love me. You gotta see the documentation, appreciate it yourself.
We are here inside Reactor 4 at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant that was severely crippled during the earthquake and tsunami of 2011, leading to the country's worst nuclear disaster. It was in here where there was that massive hydrogen explosion that severely damaged the building. But this was the least damaged of the 4 reactors. It was under maintenance and it wasn't actually...
That's what it actually looks like.
Well, as for the
not
future
like
of
that.
Nuclear power in Japan, no one really knows. More than 50 reactors have been shut down, with the public very concerned about their health and safety. The Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is pushing to reopen them, believing that Japan can have a safe nuclear future.
CNN,
Fukushima, Japan.
Faking being above a building that don't exist.
ABC's North Asia correspondent Matthew Carney got rare access inside the plant this week.
Now they're going to do the exact same thing.
They're taking.
Now look at it. He's driving on steel plates. See that on the ground? I'm sorry, let's do that again.
ABC's North Asia got rare access inside the plant this week.
They're taking us to Reactor 4.
On one side is the reactor, and on the other is the pool where we removed 1,500 spent fuel assemblies. It took about a year to do it.
Sorting out Reactor 4 will be the easy part.
That's what it actually looks like, though. That doesn't concern anybody? Hey, you guys see Matthew Carney? He's supposed to be over here at number 4. Hang on, I'll go look for him.
ABC News investigation. Inside Fukushima, ABC's Cecilia Vega takes us into the hot zone.
This is Unit 4 right here, the gray one. We're inside the building for Reactor 4.
The world is watching, and many fear what lies beneath this murky water.
1,500 highly radioactive fuel rods inside this pool. They've got to move them outside of this reactor into a safer location. Some say that this is an exceptionally delicate, very dangerous dance for TEPCO.
This is a vital first step to decommission the plant. In all, it will take workers an entire year just to clean up this reactor. But so far, they've done it.
But they're pretending they're in the building to the left that actually doesn't even exist anymore. There's nothing functional.
Safely.
Here's RT, pretending they're walking around in a building that don't exist, folks. It's RT. Anthony, ready, Dana? Pretending they're walking around in a perfect building is the same media that is trying to tell you about coronavirus today. The same people. How is this even possible? How could this be possible? Why is this not, why don't we see somebody, how come Greenpeace has never spoken out? How come no NGOs have ever spoken out? How come no universities of any disciplines have ever spoken out? How come no government worldwide has ever spoken out about this? Why is this acceptable? How the fuck did this get acceptable? There's BBC.
Where I'm standing is on top of what used to be reactor building number 4. The whole of this building was blown apart by a huge explosion after the tsunami disaster. But down inside this pool behind me here is still a vast amount of nuclear fuel. You can see it down there beneath the water. More than 1,300 fuel rods. Those have got to come out. They're currently 30 meters above ground level. This whole building is still not entirely stable, so they've got to get those out into safe storage.
He's actually talking about the building to the left.
That's number 4 behind me, over here. And so the fuel poles would have been up here, from 90 feet up in the air. Well, I'll show you, man. I'll show you. Hang on. And this one. All right, we're almost there. And, oof. God. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, jeez. Oh! Here we go. Here we go. Jesus! Fuel pole would have been down right here. Right below me. Oof. Right there. I don't see no fuel pole. You see a fuel pole? Where's the fuel pole? How did you get your degree? Huh? How?
That's the end of the show. Have a nice day. Take care. So long. Farewell. Instead of always playing a song, I'm gonna play a song, right? I just wanted to play a few licks for a change, and I always play the music. I also play the mandolin, the violin, and the guitar. Thought that'd be a bit of fun for everybody, but didn't work out the way I was hoping it was. A few little small mistakes, but hey. Stay sane, Dana. I hear you're mad. Good night to everybody. God bless everybody. The reality of it is, it came to me today when I was putting the show together that all the medias worldwide were cancelling audiences. All the sports were getting rid of the audiences. They're actually not even having sports. These are extraordinary things. Country after country was going into lockdown. And you know, all this work, all these years of trying to perfect media, tonight I kind of blew it. But generally I'm pretty good. Was that all these years of looking for media, the solution was to create media, right? And why there's sense to me now, at some point I will break out there, but I can't do it on my own. People need to help me. And if 1,000 people donated $100 each, because this is an emergency, what's happening here, I could actually buy a studio so there's no way to get rid of me. I could set it up the way it should be. I could live there. And I can be here every night for sure. But the rate this is going to go, everything is up in the air. Who knows how this is going to play out. But what I do know, if there is somebody out there like me, we will build an audience. We will change the world for the better. Because without us, there's only darkness. That's all that's out there. Without us, without a program like this where we're 100% honest the entire time. I provide all the documentation as I'm doing these presentations so that I can educate people. I've been doing this for many, many years. I've done major expeditions up and down the coastline. We covered the most difficult and the most difficult job, I think, is what I do, covering nuclear and that deception, and also what we're doing right now. Because it's such a weird subject. If you make a single mistake, they're going to get used in to bludgeon you with. So I'm not even allowed to make a single mistake. And I think I've proven myself over many, many years. And we're at this pinnacle of human history where I have to ask people to support me. Because if you don't, then there's no way I can do it. But if you do, it can be easily done. If 1,000 people donated $100 friggin' lousy dollars each, and if you don't have a credit card or a PayPal, and one of your friends do it, give them the money, they can donate. It's not stupid to think that we could do this. It's not unreasonable to want to do this. And because I already have all the equipment, all I need is the studio, and because this is such an extraordinary event, the world needs someone like us, like me, to do this job. The world really does. We can't trust these fucking degenerates that I just showed you that are still in power. The same fucking people that are still in power are going to lie to you on this subject and have. And a lot of these important headlines you've seen today didn't show up again, did they? If I didn't find them and snatch them and bring them out, you would have never known about it. Because that is what I do. I bring you facts that you can use to make informed decisions with. So I'm begging this planet to support me. Today's not the best day for doing it, Dana. You're a little angry. No. I'm heartbroken that I'm being choked off and censored so the world can't find me. But I refuse to go away. I refuse to give up. I refuse to bow down. I refuse to let these fuckers win. And so help me. $100 from 1,000 people. Is that inconceivable? Is that just asking too much? Is that too far to the world to bring you something like this day in, day out that I've already been doing for years and years and years? Because if it is, then we have lost the planet a long time ago. God bless and hugs for everybody. We'll see everybody soon. Take